And yet now she's doing a podcast, which we are only listening to. By the way, we're not listening to it.
Right.
Because she's former first lady.
Right.
No one listens to a former lawyer from, I think it was Jenner and Block, do a podcast with their brother on her thoughts on relationships. We're doing it because he made you first lady, but she does not have a kind word for him. It's amazing. Every word she says about Barack Obama is negative. I can't think of her sitting there just waxing poetic about him, complimenting, he's brilliant, he's a great dad, he was the greatest president, whatever a normal wife of Barack Obama would say. Every time she opines, it's something that reflects poorly on him, how he's insensitive, how he's not a talker, how he doesn't know how to relate to people, he doesn't keep the same schedule as she does, and now we're talking about that you can have a bad decade in America.
Michelle Obama just got hit with a double dose of media heat, courtesy of Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters. And no, this wasn't your average daytime interview. One moment she's promoting wellness and sidestepping the tough questions. Next, she's in the hot seat getting hit with verbal jabs on national TV. Megyn turned up the heat. Jesse dug in deep, and Michelle. She came armed with more deflection than answers. Think her Netflix dramas were intense? This takedown made them look like light comedies, brutal, bold, and totally unexpected. Let's break down the firestorm.
Michelle Obama, coincidentally, is reappearing, hitting the airwaves to push her new book and tell us how awful America's become.
A lot has happened. We've seen a global pandemic. We've seen an insurrection. A rising tide of hate and bigotry and intolerance and a whole lot more. I've spoken to a lot of loved ones, many of you, about what we all seem to be facing. And what has resulted from that process is actually my new book.
Michelle Obama, the woman who took the title of public servant and flipped it into a worldwide lifestyle empire. She's not just a former first lady anymore. It's basically America's wellness guru, the queen of clean eating, and the reigning champ of perfectly timed eye rolls. Leaving the White House didn't slow her down. She branched out into every form of media short of a TikTok dance challenge. But don't be surprised if that's coming soon. Maybe a collab with Lizzo while sipping premium price juice from her own brand built on feel-good guilt.
Because when you're thinking of victims of this awful world, you think of Michelle Obama and how terrible we've all been to her. This woman is a one-woman destitution derby. Every time we check in on her at her podcast, she is feeling sorry for herself. She is criticizing Barack Obama or this country. She never has a positive word to say about any.
Let's talk about the branding, because nothing quite says everyday American woman like a millionaire powerhouse whose big is 2025. Dilemma is choosing which production company gets to film her podcast about not talking politics, right? Because we all casually land massive Netflix deals while trying to stay low-key. It's like reading a memoir on privacy. That comes with 3 books, 2 documentaries, and a stadium tour. Yet somehow she's still selling the narrative of the shy introvert avoiding the spotlight. Sure, and Bigfoot's just a humble recluse with a sneaker endorsement. Now, Michelle's opening up may be a little too much. Her latest podcast feels more like a tell-all. She admits to making Barack give up basketball, confesses she wasn't really into him at first, and now she's sharing that they go to couples therapy. Oh, and apparently living in the White House left her emotionally scarred.
She said she forced Barack to stop playing basketball. Then she said she wasn't really into him at first. And now she's telling the world they go to couples counseling. Oh, and the White House traumatized her.
You know, I like you, I have believed in therapy my whole life. You know, done couples therapy with my.
Then came Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters, armed with more sarcasm than a teenager stuck at a family dinner. Kelly, who's practically turned calling out hypocrisy into an Olympic event. Didn't need much, just a strong coffee and a glimpse of Michelle's latest promo circuit before going in with full force. The moment Megyn utters Michelle's name, you can almost hear her PR team hitting panic mode, racing to revise press releases from authentic voice of the people to complex, often misunderstood brand ambassador. Kelly didn't even have to go scorched earth. She simply pointed out the irony. Michelle, fresh from her 13th talk show of the month, claims she's tired of politics while casually announcing a new campaign to save democracy with her sorghum-powered empowerment granola. It's like a firefighter complaining about flames, while brandishing a flamethrower. Just own a cheese clearly into the political spotlight. As long as the lighting is perfect and the camera catches her best side.
But Michelle wants you to remember it wasn't the Obama-Biden White House. It was the Barack and Michelle White House. Listen to how she uses the words we.
I'm so proud of my husband and the way he led, the way his administration worked, the team that we built. So proud of everyone. I think that's because of who we are.
Did she just forget to mention Joe?
And then there's Jesse Waters, who practically leaped into this roast like it was Christmas morning, and Michelle had gifted him a deluxe hypocrisy starter pack. Jesse doesn't even need a stack of evidence, just that signature smirk and a spotlight on the irony. He dived headfirst into the Michelle myth, like it was a pile of untouched arugula. Taking aim at her repeated "I have no interest in running for office" claims, he likened it to a Kardashian swearing off cameras while filming season 48 in cinematic 4K. At this point, Michelle's brand feels like a masterclass in contradiction. I'm just like you, if you overlook the mansion, the security detail, and the podcast empire. She's pitching herself as the relatable every woman who just happens to design luxury wellness getaways in Bali and headline events for Fortune 500 executives. Totally average, completely grounded, and definitely not running a shadow campaign, just keeping it real.
She dropped this podcast to distance herself from Barack so she could run for president. Every politician starts a podcast right before they launch their next campaign. Looking at you, Gavin. And it turns out Michelle wasn't the only one who had problems with Barack when he was in office. Michelle says the kids were embarrassed too.
Every year we'd have the turkey pardoning. And that was the one thing that the girls would do at Barack, was go stand next to him when he pardoned this turkey. Yes. And it was cute when they were little, but as they got older, you could see on their faces in the shots of just them thinking, I would just poke my eyes out. Just right now, just get me out of here. I'm standing with my father telling these stupid jokes.
Let's talk about her memoirs. Yes, plural. At this point, if Michelle Obama so much as sneezes, a publisher's ready with a $10 million contract to unpack the emotional depth of tissue usage. Her first book felt like a Hallmark movie dipped in self-importance, and it flew off shelves faster than gluten-free pancakes at a Sunday vegan brunch. Just when we thought she'd shared every possible thought about her life, boom, another memoir lands like a sequel no one ordered. Think Becoming Too Garden Harder. Filled with even more plant metaphors and detailed accounts of the emotional toll of wearing sleeveless dresses around conservatives. And then there's the Netflix empire. In case you missed the announcement, Michelle is now a streaming queen, part reality host, part children's show star, and possibly even moonlighting as a backup dancer if you dig far enough. She's somehow transformed reading her personal journal into a full-blown Emmy-winning spectacle. There's music, fog machines, and a crowd chanting "Queen," all while she shares how tiring it was to pretend she enjoyed politics. My heart goes out. Truly.
Very ready to talk Michelle Obama.
Oh, good. She's still just as bitter as ever. There's such a great new spin of complaints here. Here's one from her most recent episode, which still on YouTube, she's got like 200,000 subscribers. It's really amazing that now she's been doing this for how many episodes? She's been literally on every podcast of the left wing promoting it, and that's still all she's managed to get.
Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly stands there with the look of someone who's just been handed a Michelle-approved, kale-wrapped life lesson disguised as lunch, and she's not buying it. Not for a second. Key calls it exactly what it is: polished, performative virtue. Michelle talks about humility, all while doing sit-downs with Oprah and charging premium prices for her intimate. Reflections Tour because nothing screams modesty like needing jumbotrons to reach your audience. And Jesse, he's not even offended, he's entertained. Watching Michelle claim she's not political while weaving loaded statements into every topic like sprinkles on her organic fruit and veggie empire, Jesse just kicks back with that classic smirk and says, "Right, Michelle, you're just here to get kids to eat spinach. No bigger message, no hidden agenda. It's just good old-fashioned bipartisan lettuce."
I've been wondering where Michelle Obama's been. She snubbed both Jimmy Carter's funeral and Trump's inauguration. And last week, Barack went to a basketball game all by himself. Turns out Michelle's been busy working on a new podcast, and so far, it's been a flop. The first 2 episodes have been up all day and only gotten a few thousand views on YouTube. Half of them were probably primetime producers. But still, Michelle's spilling the family secrets, like how Barry gets on her nerves. Listen.
Barack, he had to adjust to what on time was for
Because he was on that island time.
Well, but I've got this husband who's like, when it's time to leave, it's 3:00. He's getting up and going to the bathroom. And I was like, dude, like 3:00 departure means you've done all.
Oh, and who could forget Michelle's fitness crusade? The era when school lunches turned into quinoa boot camps in the name of health. Because nothing says happy childhood like soggy lentils served in plastic trays. Under her anti-cookie campaign, lunchboxes became war zones, with parents facing full-blown snack rebellions. It's like she looked at the simple joy of a chocolate chip cookie and asked, "How can I replace this with steamed Brussels sprouts?" Kids were literally trading kale chips like black market goods behind the monkey bars. And now she's preaching balance. Come on, she turned cafeterias into Whole Foods detention centers. Jesse Waters still hasn't forgiven her for the infamous 2011 pizza ban. To this day, he's haunted by memories of limp cucumber slices and hummus that tasted like regret.
Little people with their own sense of everything, they mess you up. You love them dearly, but they're a hassle.
What? There's something wrong with this person. Like, she's seriously depressed. She has the most negative, dark outlook on life I've ever heard from a public figure. Certainly one who's been given so much. Okay, her window into motherhood and having a child, the first thing she says, they mess you up. They mess you up. Maybe that's what happened to her. Maybe she was totally delightful before the 2 daughters came along. I don't know. She clearly is not enjoying motherhood and enjoying being in a marriage. Even less. It's not you if things get hard. It's all hard. It's all hard. This is so...
And then came the juice cleanse. Of course, Michelle's wellness empire wouldn't be complete without a luxury juice line, because nothing says for the people. It's quite like charging $20 for a bottle of liquid kale mixed with a splash of pretty mix. And we all know I've been exploring that muff. And we all know I've been exploring that path. Of course, Michelle's wellness empire wouldn't be complete with this MPHT, within complete, within we see with Kamutin. We see with complete with Kwanwiking. We can't one you with. We see with Quat with it concord with Qual. At we see with Kwan Walk Show. To a Collywick do we see of can Kolwai, skin see you can connect with con with can fit with the see you without a get to see do we to say you we all you besuk you you ida for what you guy you got I to cure I got with the wick to kick give for the quit got 50 go I wick I could you Virtue. It's organic fair trade and infused with just enough vague inspiration to make you feel both broke and judged. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly is off to the side doing double takes. Like, wait, is she running for president or trying to land Gwyneth Paltrow's job at Goop? And just when you think Michelle might slow down boom another podcast, another series, another installment in the I swear I'm not seeking attention cinematic universe. She says it's all about empowering women, which apparently means delivering 45-minute monologues about how tough success is, while being massively successful on stage, under lights, in front of a cheering live audience.
Michelle Obama's been making her rounds this week, talking about her new book, The Light We Carry. And in one of her interviews, she talks about dealing with the press. Watch.
There'd be some question that would be what I'd call a knucklehead question. And I'd practice my true response. Sometimes just playing it out loud helps to get it out. But then when you put your first gut reaction out there for the world to see and hear, and then you look at it for a minute and you go, if I start with my rage and anger, all I will do is play out my rage and anger, but I won't be able to affect any change. And what I urge young people to do is be rageful, you and own it, but have a plan.
Self-censorship is a big part of politics, and now she has this...
The wildest part? She keeps acting like all of this just happened, like the billion-dollar media empire magically sprouted while she was casually picking tomatoes from the White House garden, as if she stumbled into the spotlight by accident. But Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters see right through it like a Botoxed window of faux transparency. Michelle isn't an accidental global icon, she's the CEO of carefully crafted humility, the reigning queen of strategic sincerity. She can tear up on cue and have the moment packaged for prime delivery by the weekend. And let's not even get started on the subtle digs at anyone who doesn't toe the line. When they go low, We Go High has slowly evolved into her pearl-clad version of a polite takedown, smiling while slipping in the shade. Every time she drops an uplifting quote, you can almost hear a room full of speechwriters nervously threading a political jab between two yoga analogies.
Her husband doesn't really like people, doesn't know how to talk to him, and doesn't even really care.
When a girlfriend comes to visit, it's usually like, you gotta stay for 2 days because it's going to take us
so much
2
time to come
days
to
check up. Now, Barack's come in, he's come out, and he's like, y'all still talking? He'll sit down for 5 minutes, be like, how are the boys? And the flip side of my husband, right? Because he golfs, and golfing takes as long as the first session of our, it takes 5 hours to golf. He'll golf with his buddies, come back, and be like, how's X? He's good. It's like, what'd y'all talk about? Nothing.
Hate to break it to Michelle, but guys don't get deep on the course. Normally, when someone rags on their spouse, there's usually a little love. Like, Jimmy, he never listens, but he looks cute in his suit. But that wasn't cute.
But don't worry, she's definitely not running for office. Nope, she's just rebranding every couple of months. Launching nonprofit initiatives faster than a DC intern can refresh their LinkedIn. And casually presenting solutions to national problems under stage lights with cameras rolling and a fresh wardrobe for every scene. Because, of course, she's done with politics. Right, just like Jesse Waters is about to release a tofu cookbook. Meanwhile, Michelle's devoted fan base applauds on cue, treating every scripted speech like gospel. Honestly, she could walk out and read a grocery list in iambic pentameter and they'd call it revolutionary. But Megyn Kelly, she's not sipping the Michelle Coulador more accurately. It's the spirulina-infused, all-natural, gluten-free Michelle wellness elixir. She's side-eyeing every carefully polished phrase, every emotional swell, every perfectly timed tear with the suspicion of someone who's seen behind the curtain and didn't like the branding plan.
Not the vaccine that's causing the autism. Why don't you look at that?
They'll never let that secret out.
Good luck with that one.
That may be the key behind all the defunding everything. It's just like, let's just blow it up. And then the old
We can't let them find this stuff out.
Old men can keep marrying 20-year-olds.
Exactly.
It's like, I'll give you the baby you want.
What? What is this? This is just some grievance fest again with two of the most privileged women on earth who are really bitter against men because now we're trying to say it's old male sperm that causes autism. I don't even understand it, but it's typical leftist women.
Michelle says she's tired. Oh, sweetheart, so are we. It's tired of the constant moral lectures, the speeches about rising above politics that somehow end in thinly veiled shots at anyone who doesn't align with her worldview. Tired of the media acting like Michelle invented elegance, parenting, and leafy greens. Tired of pretending we're not watching a slow-motion campaign ad disguised as a motivational seminar. Even her Instagram feels like a perfectly staged dreamscape of aesthetics and virtue. One moment, she's taking selfies with school children. The next, it's a black and white glamour shot paired with a deep caption about resilience. Every post follows the same formula. Here's me being totally down-earth. In a $5,000 outfit next to my private chef. Peak relatability. And through it all, Jessie and Megyn aren't even angry. They're just baffled. Still roasting. Not out of spite, but from sheer disbelief that we're all still pretending. This woman, who claims to be exhausted by public life, somehow churns out more content than Beyoncé and a small god combined.
Michelle put down some ground rules for the interview. After the biggest election in the history of the country, her words, not mine, Michelle said, "Don't ask me about politics." Michelle's only allowed to be asked about her new book, her new Netflix show, and her new fruit juice brand. Not very maha. Michelle's got to push product. It's the new golden age, remember? It's almost like she's saying life goes on. The whole democracy is on the line was just a lie.
Michelle says she doesn't miss the White House, but her packed media calendar tells a different story. You don't walk away from the game and then show up selling popcorn in every stadium. You don't distance yourself from politics while casually reshaping American culture, one glossy, sponsor-packed keynote at a time. This isn't the story of a reluctant role model, it's the tale of a highly motivated brand ambassador for brand, Michelle. So, no, Michelle, you're not just trying to help, you're managing the emotional economy with curated stories, guilt-free snacks, and another polished podcast episode. And Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters, they're not fooled. They're watching, with popcorn in hand while the rest of us finally say out loud what we've quietly known for years, the Michelle Obama narrative stopped being about hope and change a long time ago. Now it's all about the hustle, and the hustle doesn't take days off.